Sign up for a year for only 80 pesos per month. Visit tmt.ph/premium to get your free 30 days of the Manila Times Premium.
At the heart of staying healthy is our mission to deliver excellent and comprehensive care using multidisciplinary approach from different fields of expertise. From doctor's consultation with our cardiologist to diagnostic at the heart care services, surgery at the cath lab, and recuperation at the cardiac rehab facility. Your health and heart care starts from the hospital and extends to home care through Home Care Plus and Moving Med. Trust us with your heart care. Because at Manila Doctors Hospital, you can be assured that we are with you every step of the way.
giliw para sa silanganan, alam ng puso sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyak ka ng pag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di mo pagsisili, sa lahat at puno sa silangan, sa langit kong ama, nilagang tulang tapos sa paglayang minamahal, ang isang ng mata mo'y kabuti na nagbibigay, ang bituin ng parang ayan, pag may magdilig,
Good day. Thank you for joining us on the Manila Times online discussion titled Health Forum, New Year, New You, where we talk about old medical issues that we need to deal with in order to move on in the new year, as well as new medical knowledge that would empower and enable us to become newer, healthier versions of ourselves. My name is Defort Villasaran, the Manila Times or TMT editor. I am also your co-moderator for today. Co-moderating with me is Conrad Carino, TMT Senior Special Sections editor. Hi, Conrad. What are your New Year's resolutions? Have you enrolled in the gym yet? I think maybe your microphone is on mute.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, I tried enrolling in a gym before, but I found it more productive to work out at home because there's no disturbance. Also, part of my New Year's resolution is to do a lot of drastic changes to my diet, like reducing rice intake and red meat intake. So I hope I could stick with that for the rest of the year.
Well, now, how's your health then with all these changes that you've been making? How do you stay in shape?
Well, of course, I work out at least twice a week, and hopefully that could be increased to thrice a week. And I think I am healthy for a guy my age, although I'm not gonna disclose my age here.
Well,
Yeah.
what exactly do you mean by exercise? Because for some people, exercise is yung binubuhat lang nila would be bote na lang alak or something, diba? So what exactly do you mean by exercise or lifting weights or whatever?
Okay. Let's speak of the overhead lift, something like this. I weigh 140 pounds, so my aspiration is to lift as much as 80 pounds, maybe in the next 6 months.
Okay.
I mean, I have been lifting so heavy before when I was younger, so I hope that at my age I could still do that, although limited to 2 exercises only.
Well,
So
that's
you really
really
have
an
to push your
interesting
body.
perspective. Yeah.
Mhm.
You were saying about how you wanted to at least come and approximate what you used to be able to do when you were much younger.
Yes. But that's going to be very challenging. I could not squat 250 pounds anymore. Maybe 150 pounds would be realistic for somebody my age.
I see. Well, how about in terms of diet? You mentioned earlier. Are you did you get into like the ketogenic diet, or are you doing intermittent fasting or any of those that seem to be in fashion nowadays?
Well, intermittent fasting worked that worked for me in the past 6 months. I lost maybe 5 pounds of weight from my tummy. I usually do that 12 to 16 hours per day, but I advise those who would try it to first make sure that they could withstand not eating for 12 hours straight or even 16 hours straight. Because I know of a friend who tried intermittent fasting, but he had vertigo and that didn't work for him.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I recall experiencing vertigo also, although not from not eating for 12 hours. It's more like eating for about 12 hours straight. Yeah, I think that should be. But perhaps our guest speakers can give us better fitness, health, and wellness tips. In fact, Department of Health Officer in Charge Secretary Maria Rosario Vergara herself has a message for us later. So that's
Yeah.
something to look forward to, right? But in the
Yes,
meantime,
yes.
let's maybe welcome our guests. First off, we have the program director for interventional cardiology at Manila Doctors Hospital. Has Dr. Gumatay been able to join us already in the Zoom? Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for we're glad that you're able to join us on time. We heard that you came from an emergency surgery.
My specialty calls on me not to be busy and to be awake all the time, 24/7.
So that's part of the health regimen yata ng doctors is to not sleep.
Sana
Well,
yan siya.
hello and welcome, Dr. Wilbert Alan Gumatay. Do you prefer to be called Wilbert or Alan?
Alan. Alan's better,
Alan.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Alan, thank you for being a keynote speaker in our conversation today about new medical knowledge, perhaps about the heart or in general, things that we should imbibe and apply in our lives in order to actualize the new self that we want to make real in this year of the water rabbit. Yes.
Yes. I'll be glad to help. Thank you.
Can you believe it, Conrad? Has it sunk in yet? It's already 2023. I mean, like I imagined, like before, we'd already by the year 2023 would be flying in cars, or maybe when we dock in, it's not like boats, but actually things floating in space. So we're not even nowhere close to teleporting. So in the year 2023, what are your thoughts on health and just the state of the art?
Okay, the fourth, all I can say is I'm just glad I'm not in an ambulance, whether or not it's flying or in the air or roaring on the road. No matter the technology, nothing beats good or old-fashioned healthy living. And to help discuss health deficiencies in a while is the National Coordinator of the Iodine Global Network. Good afternoon, Dr. Teofilo San Luis Jr. Welcome. May we call you Teofilo?
I think Dr. San Luis mentioned earlier that his colleagues call him Dr. Shing.
Ching.
Okay,
Dr.
so we
Ching.
will call you Dr. Ching. Okay, sir.
Yes. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
thank you, Doc. Yeah. So, Dr. Ching, we look forward to hearing your talk later after the fourth introduces our next guest.
Yes, also with us is none other than the founder of the Libyan Medical Group himself, Edwin Bien. Good day, Edwin. Are you with us already in the Zoom? Well, perhaps he's experiencing some technical issues. But anyway, we shall look forward to the talk of Dr. Bien later. In fact,
Yes.
it seems to be an extensive, and I think it comes in three parts, well, last I checked, in terms of what we have to look forward to, right, Conrad?
Yeah, so nonetheless, we thank Dr. Edwin for joining us, who will be joining us later and in this health forum this afternoon.
Yes, and we're honored, apart from our keynote speakers for gracing us with their presence, we're also thankful and honored to the medical institution in which actually Dr. Alan, where he practices, the Manila Doctors Hospital, for being our special partner in order to make today's forum possible. And as for our organization partners, Conrad, perhaps you'd like to do the honors of thanking them?
Yes, we'd like to express our gratitude to the British Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, the French Chamber of Commerce and Industry in the Philippines, the Cebu Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the Chamber of Real Estate Builders Associations, or CREBA,
Reba, yes.
the Davao City Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or DCCCII, the Financial Executives Institute of the Philippines,
That's
or
FINEX.
FINEX, yeah, the Italian Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, or ICCPI, the Islamic Dawah Council of the Philippines, or IDCP, the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, or
La
La
Camara.
Camara, yeah, the Management Association of the Philippines, or MAP, the Nordic Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, the Voice of Business, PCCI NCR, and of course, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or PCCI, the Philippine Center for Islam and Democracy, and She Talks Peace. And of course, special thanks goes to our media partner,
Media partner,
the Manila
yes.
Times TV.
Sure,
Maraming salamat.
The Manila Times is indeed thankful for the continuous support and the generous backing of all our special and organization partners. And with that, let's get busy getting healthy, or at least talking about getting healthy. In
Yes.
Health Forum, New Year, New You. Let's listen to one of the most familiar and reassuring faces in the Philippines, especially during the pandemic. But before we hear her message, let's perhaps learn a little bit more about a very familiar face. Prior to her engagement with the Department of Health, or DOH, she was formerly Officer in Charge, Deputy Director General for the Field Regulatory Operation Department of the Food and Drug Administration. And then at the DOH, she was a former Undersecretary of the Public Health Services team. Now, despite all her responsibilities, she still manages to find time and give back by teaching the next or the future leaders in healthcare. So she is a faculty member of the Development Academy of the Philippines and part-time as faculty of the Ateneo School of Government. So this sense of giving back, perhaps we could trace that to her roots with the University of Santo Tomas, where she acquired her undergraduate degree in zoology. And then she earned her medical degree from the De La Salle University College of Medicine, where afterwards she gained her master's in public health from the University of the Philippines, Manila. Now, let's listen to the message from DOH Officer in Charge Secretary Maria Rosario Vergera. Secretary Vergera, the screen is yours.
Good morning to our distinguished guests, dear viewers, and our gracious host, the Manila Times. Happy New Year po sa ating lahat. Thank you for making time to join us in today's webinar, whether you're sitting at home, streaming from the office, or listening in while in transit. I truly hope that we are all able to keep our resolutions as we say, New Year, New Me, this 2023. Every year, our resolutions are our own individual pledges to change our behaviors towards a healthier lifestyle. Every resolution is commendable, as making them takes a significant amount of introspection and self-awareness. More than making these pledges perhaps even more challenging is actually acting on these resolutions and consistently abiding by them. I'm sure we all have had New Year's resolutions that we weren't able to keep. And most of the time, it is not simply caused by the lack of discipline or motivation. More often than not, we fail to keep our resolutions because we lack the supporting environment that enable us to make the adoption of this healthy behavior easier. In this vein, we from the Department of Health aim to support behavior change through our health promotion framework strategy, so that healthy behaviors are made easier for everyone, everywhere, and every time. The Health Promotion Framework Strategy, or the HFPS, approaches the problem through a people and places lens, where we intend to promote healthy behaviors through healthy governance, healthy environment, and health literacy. The vision that we would like to share with every Filipino is a collective idea of health where we have empowered communities that are able to secure a well-balanced, well-moderated, and varied diet, access to safe water in their homes, get themselves protected from disease through vaccines, be able to live happily and fulfilling life without relying on substances such as alcohol, tobacco, and illicit drugs, get the support system that they need for mental health, have access to sexual health care and family planning services without stigma and discrimination, being able to design exercise in day-to-day activities such as walking or cycling within their communities without fearing for their safety. In the past 3 years, we have issued strategic direction-setting policies and technical standards related to the health behaviors that correspond to our 7 priority areas. These include policies for safe use of active transport, control of non-communicable diseases through elimination of industrially produced trans fatty acids, and tobacco control, to name a few. These policies lay down the foundations of change in our communities to make our environments more supportive of healthy decisions. This make healthy behaviors the easier choice to make. We also have developed playbooks, which are packages of innovative and evidence-based health promotion programs which help operationalize healthy settings at the local level as prescribed by the Universal Healthcare Law. We have rolled out playbooks for healthier food choices, nudges for hygiene and hand washing, and smoke and vape-free communities, among others. These playbooks were initially piloted in 7 local government units, but since then, we have expanded these playbooks to 33 local governments in 2022 and more to come in 2023. Through these playbooks, we were able to establish environments that promote healthy behaviors in our communities. Another important aspect is health literacy. Recognizing this, we make sure that our healthcare settings initiatives are complemented by communication campaigns that increase knowledge and foster positive attitudes towards health. Through our campaigns, we are able to share vital health-related information and educational materials that champion the 7 healthy habits para sa healthy Pilipinas. In every communication campaign, our aim is to make all the materials understandable to all Filipinos from all walks of life because we know that leading a healthy lifestyle is founded on the effective application of sound health knowledge. Our unified approach to health promotion through healthy governance, healthy settings, and health literacy aims to build systems and communities that enable individuals to make healthier choices and follow through with their New Year's resolutions for a healthier lifestyle. As we embark on this new year together, the Department of Health remains steadfast in our mission through leading multi-sectoral efforts for health promotion, engaging partners in mounting cost-effective interventions for social and behavioral change, and addressing social determinants of health by building health-supportive environments through policies, programs, and campaigns. To our partners, let us all work together to achieve better health outcomes, especially for people in the farthest communities in the country. We enjoin all of our listeners and viewers today to hold fast to your resolutions for a healthier lifestyle, no matter how incremental these changes seem to be. Let us all work together so that these resolutions no longer need to be trendy or uso, and let us make healthy behaviors the norm for every Filipino. Rest assured that we are with you as we can take these meaningful strides together towards a healthy Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po. Mabuhay tayong lahat para sa healthy Pilipinas.
Okay. Maraming salamat sa inyo, Secretary Vergere. In fact, I love what she said when she emphasized incremental improvements because some of us have to take baby steps when we embark on a health program, and that's a very good note. So maraming salamat, Secretary Vergere.
Yes, thank you. I think, Conrad, that term, there's a popular term nowadays, they call that the atomic habits, where incremental talaga yung development. That way it's perhaps more sustainable.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree.
So now we move on to our second keynote speaker. Now, this doctor specializes in internal medicine and cardiology. His subspecialty is interventional cardiology. Thus, he is a heart disease specialist, routinely handling coronary angiograms, coronary angioplasty, and of course, pacemakers. He is adept in general and critical care, and he is certified by the Philippine College of Physicians, the Philippine Heart Association, and the Philippine Society of Cardiac Catheterization and Interventions, Incorporated. Now, since 2021, he has been the director of Cath Lab for Medical Center Parañaque, and since 2022, yes, he has been the chairman of the Council on Heart Failure for the Philippine Heart Association. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you one of Manila Doctor Hospital's finest, Dr. Wilbert Alan Kumatay. Dr. Alan, the screen is yours.
Thank you for that very wonderful introduction. I think that's my whole resume there. All right. Sige, let's start the ball rolling. I'll try to share my slides now. Is it? There you go.
I think, doctor, after the surgery you performed, this is probably just a walk in the park for you. Maning-mani na lang to after all the
Well,
emergency situation, the rush you were in.
we usually, as doctors, actually, no, I keep telling my patients, we tell them ways on how not to need us, on how not to, tell them ways on how to not get help from cardiologists or doctors. Okay, so there we go. Thank you. Okay, so apologies. All right. Thank you. Do you see my slides? Yeah. My slides are seen, right? Okay. Yeah. My slides can be seen? Correct?
Visible? Yes.
All right. Very good. Sige. So, okay. So remember, Dr. Evergary mentioned health behavior strategies. So as doctors, actually, we try to educate patient on ways on how to become healthy. And the problem with the pandemic, there were a lot of behaviors that changed to the point of hindi sila maganda. No? So we have to start now and try to revise those behaviors, those negative behaviors, and start again on how to become healthy or healthier for those who have started already. So the thing is, what happened during the pandemic? No? During this time, all of us actually had a lot more stress. No? We got to think about a lot of things, right? And then how will we work when we go out? Do we need to get COVID, etc., etc. So there are a lot of things that we get to think now that we were not thinking about before the pandemic. And then because of the isolation and because of you cannot really go out, no, in fear of becoming infected, we got to be in a more what's the word there? Sedentary lifestyle. We do not really walk anymore. Before we do jogging, we were forced not to do it because of the quarantine, no? And then because of the quarantine itself, our social connections became disconnected. So this added more to our mental stress. Wala na tayong outlet with talking with our friends. Still different, no? Although we could call them by phone, but the actual the moments that we are with them and get to joke with them, with our friends and families. So it's really nice, right? And we got and because of the COVID, we got disconnected from them. And the last one, of course, we get to do missed appointments with our doctors. So that's, in a way, a short summary of what happened during the pandemic. So having said that, our cholesterol actually, we expect it to have increased because of our food intake. Our diabetes actually may have become uncontrolled, as well as our blood pressure. And of course, with all these three, the risk for developing heart problems is there. Okay? Oh, what happened? Sorry. There we go. So, how do we go back to the road of becoming heart healthy? So, as Dr. Evergary said, we want incremental improvements. We want to have health literacy. Okay? So, for doctors, we call it back to basics, but personally, I like to call it understanding the basics. Some of my patients come to my clinic and tell me, Doc, I want to lose weight. Doc, I want to exercise. Doc, I want to eat healthy. So the initiative is there. It's just that we don't know how to do it, right? So let's focus on 4 issues that our time constraints will give us. Stress management is one. Let's focus there later. Okay. So how about healthy eating? These food are the more common ones we like to eat, especially now. No? And then of course, during the pandemic, this one is made these food easier for us to acquire. So pindot lang cellphone and then I get to eat crispy pata. Before I used to clean it myself, do it myself. No? Our cooks do it for us, our mothers, our parents, or us, we cook it for ourselves. It takes time. But now it gets easier with just one click of a button. However, please understand that these are not the only ones that are available in your food delivery app. The question of what is healthy to eat is still out there, no? These are the foods that are healthy, and they are also available in your food delivery apps, no? So personally, my favorite actually is here is tinola, although I actually am having difficulty. What's the difference with sinampalukang manok? It's hard to do sinampalukang manok in Manila. Okay? This is healthy. The other stuff are here, no? Gising-gising, laing, sinigang na bangus, pinakbet, and then hilaw na ubod or something like that. I do eat that. Okay? So these are healthy, right? But why do we not choose to eat these? That would be the other issue. So again, if you're telling us that there's not a lot of healthy things to eat, not really. Meron din naman. Okay? What else? Ito. Di ba? Sinigang na baboy, yan, gising-gising, inihaw, tortang talong. Yeah. So these food are healthy. So there are choices. So just we need to improve or increase our scanning of our apps. All right? So there are choices of healthy food to eat. Now, going back, remember in our educational years, elementary years, high school years, I don't know, 40 years ago for some, 30 years ago for some, we were taught about the food pyramid. Let me get my pointer here. There we go. The food pyramid, di ba? We were asked to do a quiz on this, of course, but it's hard to remember, no? That's why right now, the idea is this one. For us to better and more understand how to eat, it became as simple as this one. Get a 9-inch plate. Half of it is filled with fruits and vegetables. 1/4 is rice, and 1/4 is whatever your ulam is. Okay? That's easy, right? Remember this one, 9-inch plate. If you're trying to diet, don't get a big plate. Okay? Kasi common na yan eh. Parang psychology, you want to fill the whole plate, right? So that's one of the easy or shortcut ways of doing it. Okay? So again, half of the plate with fresh fruits and vegetables, 1/4 with ulam, and 1/4 with rice. Right? So that's how nutritionists will tell us now. How about physical activity? Again, because of the quarantine, we became sedentary. Although last year, dumami na yung mga nagsa-cycling and jogging, whatever. No? Although personally, I haven't resumed my jogging since the pandemic. I know. Okay. So what is the recommendation? That's always the question. Please understand, of course, that if you are sick with any diseases and you feel not comfortable starting to exercise, you might want to ask your doctor first how fit or what level of exercise you can do. However, generally speaking, the recommendation is you do about 30 minutes of brisk walking, moderate intensity exercise most days of the week. When we say most days of the week, that's 4 days. No? So yung sinasabi sa akin minsan ng patient na, Doc, I walk 2 hours a day. Good for you. Are you overdoing it? I don't know. Maybe. Again, it just takes 30 minutes. Now, whether you do it in the morning, lunch break, or at night, doesn't matter. Exercise still exercise. Before, I used to do it at 9 p.m. at night. No? Because I finished my job around that time. I begin my day early. I don't have time to do stuff. No? So that's how I try to fit exercise with my life. Okay? When we say moderate intensity exercise in Tagalog, mararamdaman mo na tumutulin ng konti yung tibok ng puso mo. So, mobility, you walking about 2 kilometers or 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day. It's still exercise, but it's not really, you could get more if you do brisk walking rather than just walking. Okay? The Philippines also has its own version, the Philippine Heart Association. We do have the 52100. Mas strict na tayo, 1 hour of exercise per day. I think the reason there is when we say gusto namin grade mo 90, when you get to 80, okay na yan. So yun ata yung rason doon, no? So however, when I tell my patients do exercise 30 minutes to 1 hour, that's fine. That's my that's the limits I tell them. Okay? So what counts as moderate intensity exercise? Yun sila. Brisk walking, hiking, dancing, no? Cycling for some and then swimming for the more affluent people. Swimming is actually the best because it doesn't put any strain on your joints. However, again, it's hard. However, for some people who live in condominiums and subdivisions, there are swimming pools there. No? So you might take that into advantage. Dun sa mga wala, brisk walking is fine. Okay? And of course, cycling. A lot of people are into cycling now. Again, try to do the amount of exercise that makes your heart beat a little faster than usual. For those who have yung mga pedometers and exercise fitness watches, try to increase your heart rate by 50% of your baseline. So that would be the tip. Okay? That would count as moderate intensity exercise. Para simple lang siya. All right? So now let's go to the third part, stress management, the more important part. And it came to the limelight the last year or so because of the pandemic. Mental health. It's hard to do because of a lot of stresses. We are overwhelmed with a lot of things to do. No? Our job requirements are becoming more and more. Our personal requirements are getting more and more. Our social requirements are getting more and more also. Personally, my problem here before was during the pandemic, we got into a lot of Zoom webinars, Zoom consultations, and then in the latter parts of the pandemic, our face-to-face consults became resumed also. So I'm doing two things at the same time. It was giving me a lot of stress. No? So the idea there again is I got to realize multitasking is really not a good thing. And then when I try to research and inform myself on how to de-stress and improve my mental health, these are the things that I learned and I try to apply. One, again, avoid multitasking. When you multitask, you put your brain into a lot of things to think about. No, so that by itself puts a lot of stress. And when you do multitask, you do not perform better. Actually, you perform more poorly. No, so rather than doing 3 or 4 mediocre things, just do one very good activity or very good project. Okay, and then schedule na lang siya. After you do this, then that. Okay. And then, of course, practice conscious presence of mind. What does that mean? You're doing this, and yet your mind is somewhere else. So, example nun, when we drive, di ba nagda-drive ka, tapos may iniisip kang iba, mababangga ka na lang. No? So, again, try to put your mind into the moment of what you're doing. So, lately also, again, I've been trying to listen to more music in the car para mawala yung iniisip ko nga, no? So, kasi sometimes talagang automatic na pumupunta sa isip mo eh. If you haven't finished whatever you wanted to finish, it's still there, no? So, try to do a lot some other things that maiba yung iniisip mo. So, I try to learn to listen to music in my car till I get home, okay? And then, of course, say thank you. Remember, during the pandemic, a lot of us had suffered. A lot of us had lost a loved one. A lot of us have lost our jobs. So there are things that we should be thankful for. Still have a job, still have a life. Our loved ones are still with us. No? Even if you had suffered from COVID, my patients who have suffered from COVID, when they came back for follow-up sometime later, there was really a change in their perspective. They were more appreciative and thankful. Na, Lord, thank you, nabuhay ako. Because you understand the difficulty of the mental stress of being admitted and isolated and knowing that the risk for death is really high. So they became more thankful. So that's one of the more positive things that came out after their debacle. Okay. And then the fourth one here is remind yourself to switch off. Switching off, what does that mean? I hate my cell phone. I really do hate my cell phone. As a doctor, I cannot do away with it. No? When there's a patient, I get called on. No? Especially with my specialty, I do operations on emergency heart attacks. There's no schedule for that one. So the more patient you have, the more texts you get. And remember, we cannot work 24/7, right? So you really need to have your mind switch off a little temporarily. So, for example, to put it simply, when you're at school, we were at school, there's a recess and a lunch break, right? So the recess is a break. Okay? The lunch is a break. However, we're doing working lunches and working dinners and even working breakfast now. No? So what do we mean when we say we switch off? Personally, in the morning, when I wake up, I never look at my phone first. Okay? I spend around 5 minutes thinking of trying to say thank you, I'm alive, and then do my bed. That's one way of saying that's an accomplishment, no? And then do breakfast or take a bath or whatever. And then after all those things, that's the time I read my email, I read my messages. Takes me about 30 minutes to do all of those, no? So that's not bad. So that's time for me to get myself centered, no? And get ready for the day. Also, remember, there are a lot of patients who come to me that feel they are stressed and they don't have time for pahinga, no? Like I said. So, merong patient din nagsasabi sa akin, Doctor, why don't you go to work? Why don't you have clinic during Sundays? My only free time is Sunday. No? So I tell them, if I do that, I'm working 24/7. That would break me down early. No? If it's an emergency, you should go to the ER. If it's not an emergency, then the clinic time is okay. Right? Then I keep mentioning, even in the Bible, mentioned on the 7th, God rested.
Ano na nangyari kay
We do that, no? So again, Sunday is family
Hindi
day,
pa siya busy, no?
4 p.m. Then, ayan. All right. Thank you, sir. So there you go. So what else? These are some of the things I found out also. I never do meditation. I never learned. I should. It's always recommended by whoever, no? Massages, it's nice. You know my idea for exercise before. I like massages, but I never like exercise. I never like jogging. Especially if you are not a jogger before. After you jog, your body aches the following day, right? So I know that getting a massage during post-exercise is good. It relieves the stress also and makes you not feel the post-exercise pain. So what I did was, whenever I wanted to do massages, I do jogging first. So I made massage as a prize to force myself to jog. That's what I did before, okay? And then of course, I'm doing this now, writing it down. When you go to bed, it's hard to sleep immediately because there are a lot of things in your mind racing. So what I do and what I read about is you write down your thoughts. Because when you write down your thoughts, no, not type it in your cell phone, you write it down. The act of writing it down actually makes it na parang whatever was in your mind is put into paper, and that sorts of relieves some of your stress because what's written in the paper is in a way permanent, no? It won't go away. So you don't have to do the action of trying to remember it until tomorrow, no? So that's one of the things I've been doing recently also. And then caffeine, here. I will confess I do about 2-3 cups of coffee a day. People ask me, Doctor, di ba coffee is good? I read it's 5 cups a day. So okay. I'm a cardiologist. You know, coffee makes you palpitate. And if you have a heart problem, you don't know if the palpitation is because of the heart problem or because of the coffee, or the coffee might exacerbate the palpitations for the heart problem. So those kinds of things, no? So, generally speaking, coffee is good. 1 cup. Try your limits, no? But however, too much of a good thing is bad. Coffee will make you perk up a little, but it will get back at you later. Yung mga tinatawag na parang sugar rush in a way, merong drop later. May ganun din sa coffee, no? So, what else? So try to reduce your caffeine, okay? And then what else? Ito pa isa, identify your stress triggers. I have a story here. There was one clinic before that I used to go to. However, the patients there really are, sabihin natin, hindi naman nakikinig. So, pasok here, labas there, your advice. No? So, I really do not feel well about those. However, May mga pasyente kasing ganun talaga, no? So, na-stress lang ako lagi. So, what I did was, I got out of that clinic, no? So, binitawan ko siya. So, yeah, I have less income, but I have more peace in a way, no? So, kung ang stress mo yung TV mo, tigilan mo. Kung ang stress mo yung cellphone mo, bawasan mo. Kung yung stress mo yung dumi ng bahay mo, linisin mo. So, parang ganun lang siya, okay? And then, of course, exercise nga. The thing about exercise, you think about it like this. When you exercise, you increase your energy reserve in a way. Okay? So that energy reserve makes you work better, makes you work more. So kinakaya ng katawan mo ngayon yung stress nung gawain mo, nung trabaho mo. Okay? So that's how I explain to my patients sometimes. And then of course, enjoy life. You know? Social connections are really important, especially your family. Family has been one of the more has become a lead during the pandemic, di ba? Parang na-realize talaga natin the importance of family. So hopefully we keep that post-pandemic also. Okay? Ito, my favorite kwento with patients. When we tell them to relax, so the patients will tell us, Doc, I did a vacation. Oh, good. Kamusta weekend? Kapag pahinga ka na. Nakabawi tulog. Very good. Yung iba, napagod, Doc. Nagkita kami ng barkada, napainom. The others, sarap, nakapagbora kami, Doc. Eto, pagod sa biyahe, wala pa ako tulog, Doc. The other ones, wala masyado, Doc. Nood lang TV, napuyat ako sa Korean novela. So, when patients come to me and tell them, they tell them they're stressed, of course, the recommendation we take a break, no? However, what do we do usually when we are on a break? When we take our sick leaves, vacation leaves? Sinasagad din kasi natin, no? Long weekend, pupunta ka ng ganon. So, napagod ka sa biyahe. Or very early morning or late night travel, and then you go back Sunday, late night, and then very early in the Monday morning, papasok ka na naman. So, it's not really rest. So, we should factor that into our schedules also, no? So, yun lang naman yan. Inuman is not rest. Remember, when we do alcohol, there's still some negative downer in our body. Okay? And then this one, like I mentioned, I hate my cell phone, but I cannot do with it. So you try to limit it, no? Yung iba may ginagawa na na parang there is no notification at a certain period of time. So ganun siya. 1 hour siguro a day, lalagyan na ng break na walang sounds, no? Things like that. If you can do away with some of these things, go ahead. Okay, last one. Regular medical checkup. One of the things we missed the last 2 years, this is the issue I feel. Most of us think that if there are no symptoms, there's no problem. But we know that's not true. However, we still believe it like this. Okay? So the problem is, when you do have a problem, it's usually on the worst side already. And that's the time you can come to the doctor. Okay? So remember, high blood pressure doesn't have any symptoms. Diabetes doesn't have any symptoms. Cholesterol doesn't have any symptoms. But the complication, that's the time you have a symptom. Okay? So, do not wait for the symptom to arrive because that's usually complications na. Stroke, heart attack, etc., etc. When during our original meeting, I was asked, ano ba yung usual nga daw na symptoms? Now, you know these, chest pain, short of breath, neck pain, jaw pain. However, I'd like you to focus on these three, especially in the elderly and diabetic. Some elderly people or diabetic people, they just sweat. There was after walking somewhere or doing gardening, ganyan, or holding the grandchildren, napansin mo, parang they just sat down like that, pinagpapawis malamig, no? And then usually sabihin natin, oh lola, drink water and relax, no? However, that could be a sign of a heart attack already. Again, for the elderly and diabetic, no? As well as yung bigla ang nahihilo, no? Anxiety in a way, that's true. However, the better word here is you feel uneasy. It's not anxiety. You know something's wrong, but you cannot point your finger at it. But remember, you are diabetic, you are a little on the elderly side. Those are the two things that we look first before we say your uneasiness is a problem. Okay? So when you have these things, when you see these things in your elderly loved ones, of course, see a doctor. Okay, so remember Dr. Vergara, what she mentioned, health literacy, we mentioned that one, health behavior strategies, okay? As doctors, our focus actually is not on the endpoints, but on the prevention side, that like what Dr. Vergara said. We want to prevent things, no? So the hospital actually has a wellness program. So my patients usually come to that unit to ask for nutritional counseling. They don't know what to eat. What can we eat? To ask for an exercise regimen. To ask for weight loss management plans. No? So wellness is an area of the hospital or your units or your hospital where you can go to preserve or improve your well-being. No? So ang hospital is not just may sakit ka. Okay? A hospital is there also to help you improve on prevention. Then of course, when you're diseased, may mga diagnostics yan. And this is what I do, and of course, you do not want that. That is the part that's life-threatening already when we reach there. And that's not cost-effective anymore. That's naghahabol na tayo no? And of course, going back into the world is something that we do also in our hospital, rehabilitation. So we get to hopefully make you feel a little younger, a little stronger from your baseline. Okay? So, ito. When you have a problem, try not to do this. Because remember, we were talking about anxiety earlier. Dr. Google will not make you feel comfortable because the results are not filtered. No? It will only make you more anxious. So I tell my patients, I cannot take out what you have read because it's been there. So try not to read too much. There are websites that you could read or there are topics that you could read. For example, calorie counting. No? I ask my patients to do that. Oh, you do internet, you're trying to lose weight, then research on calorie counting. Okay, that would be a better topic to research. If you're looking for ideas on health management, usually it's yung mga website with the hospital or with the school, American Heart Association, Philippine Heart Association. Those are the websites that provide patient information that are a little more credible. No? So again, Dr. Google makes you more anxious. Try not to do that. My last few slides, health is an investment. You work, so you earn money, but you don't spend that money to get sick, okay? To save, do operations, okay? Your best investment is your health. So you could enjoy your money in your retirement age, not just to pay for medications. And live life afterwards, okay? So thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Alan, for your presentation on how to better care for our arts in the new year. So tama ba yung takeaway ko is yung eat more lechon kawali, sisig, I understood you correctly, right?
Yeah, if you do that, you're gonna see me very soon.
Yeah, so anyway, Conrad, do you have a question that you'd like to ask the Program Director for Interventional Cardiology at the Manila Doctors Hospital?
Yes, specifically for adults to stay healthy, how many hours of sleep do you recommend? I mean, some say it's 6 hours because we're
Sir Madaya, there is a sleep doctor. Okay, generally speaking, of course, it's difficult to answer, no? However, the society mentions for ages 20 to 40, it's about 6 to 8 hours of sleep.
Okay.
Or 7 to 9, I forgot which of the two. Generally speaking, 7 to 8 ang madaling sabihin eh. The problem with insomnia, no? So yan, isang another issue na sinasabi sa akin ng pasyente ko, Doc, I cannot sleep. If you snore a lot, you might need to see a sleep doctor, a pulmonologist, because you might have sleep apnea. No? So what are the symptoms of sleep apnea? Aside from heart failure and other cardiac mortality issues. Yung simple symptom na naghihilik, nagigising sa madaling araw, tapos naririnig mo sarili mong naghilik ako, and then pagising mo sa umaga, makati yung lalamunan because it's very dry, and then some of the people also actually, yung nga napapansin na when they just napaupo lang, mami, tulog na, you might want them to have a consult with a sleep doctor or a sleep specialist because sleep apnea might be one of their diseases. No? So, may isang tanong ba sir? May follow-up yan eh. What can you do to help you sleep? Tama ba? Tama sir, no? Walang cellphone sa gilid ng paano mo.
You're talking about yung
I
blue
agree.
light from
I
devices,
agree.
right?
Oo eh. When you do have a device beside your bed, an iPad, a cell phone, you're forced to scan and whatever, watch whatever. Your mind is working, so you can't really fall asleep, no? So the general recommendation there is try to get your sleep regularized, meaning if you want to sleep 11 p.m., sleep at 10. No cell phone there, the lights are off. Try to make your room a little colder, a little colder because cold temperature makes you sleep better. What else? Syempre, magandang kama, magandang unan. Those things, sir. Yeah. Coffee pala. Try to avoid drinking coffee in the afternoon or in the evening. Make you awake also.
So, Dr. Alan, thank you very much for your very incisive answers. And to all of you, hold on to your stethoscope. So to speak, we'll move on to our third keynote speaker before having the open forum portion of our program. Now, our third speaker has had an illustrious career with accolades too numerous to recount completely. Among the many noteworthy feathers on his cap are his being a professor at the UST, the University of Santo Tomas Faculty of Medicine and Surgery, the Dean of St. Luke's College of Medicine, and the Dean of the Asian School of Nuclear Medicine. He received his Doctor of Medicine cum laude meritissimus from the UST, his fellowship in nuclear medicine from the Institute of Nuclear Medicine, University of Bonn in Germany, his Masters of Arts in Public Administration, meritissimus also from UST, his course on managing health programs in developing countries from Harvard University School of Public Health in Boston, USA. Concurrently, he is the Vice President of the Asia and Oceania Thyroid Association, President of the Association of KAAD Alumni, and Chairman of the Scholarship Committee for the Philippines at the Takeda Science Foundation. With pleasure, I present to you Dr. Teofilo San Luis Jr., National Coordinator of the Iodine Global Network. So the screen is yours, Dr. Teofilo.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure for me to be invited to this health forum. At ang title nga ng inyong is New Year, New You.
New you.
Di ba? New You. Pero dito sa aking didiscuss nyo, old problems, hindi new. Ito kasing old problems na to ay nagmumula pa noong matagal ng panahon na dito sa atin. In my job as the national coordinator for the Iodine Global Network, it is still a problem. Kanya yung sinabi kanina ni Secretary Vergere na incremental improvement. Ha? Ito naging ngayong word na buzzword natin ngayon dito sa health forum na ito. Incremental improvement. Dito sa problem na nakikita ko dito sa atin in my capacity as a public health advocate, wala akong nakikitang incremental improvement. Kung meron man, napakaliit. And that is why I'd like to share with you my slides on the fact that ang problema natin ngayon ay ito. Yan. So, from the perspective of a public health advocate, rescue the IQ. Mukhang, I don't know whether it will resonate with everyone, but rescuing the IQ seems to be, ano bang ibig sabihin ng rescue the IQ? Itong ating pag-uusapan po nito. Old problem of iodine deficiency. At ako po ay nagagalak na itong advocacy ko na ito ay napansin na ng Philippine College of Physicians when it conferred on me a distinguished exemplar award for public health last year in the Philippine Convention, in the Philippine College of Physicians. Kanya ito po ang i-discuss ko sa inyo ngayon. Alam niyo, ang advocacy of rescuing the IQ starts very early in embryonic life. Ito po makikita ninyo yung half na mansanas, yung buto ng mansanas, ayun nakikita ninyo. Yun hong brain, yun hong katawan ng ating ng embryo after conception, kasing laki lang nung buto ng mansanas. And you can just imagine the small size of the brain of this embryo at 5 weeks of age. Of course, it wasn't there. Now, this is a little bit, itong slide na to is a little bit complicated, but I'd like you to focus first on the bottom part, which is the gestational age in months. Nakikita naman natin 0 to 8 and birth. Okay. During this period of time, tignan niyo yung mga blue, the vital parts of the body, especially of the brain, starts developing. Yan, at 1 month of age, nakikita niyo yung corpus callosum, subarachnoid pathway, striatum, cerebral cortex, etc., etc. And even after birth, there are other parts of the body of the brain that is still developing, like cerebellum, hanggang a few years of age yan. Yung myelinization, tuloy-tuloy po yan. So that's the major formative events in the human central nervous system development. Now, tignan man natin yung asa bandang itaas. During this period of time, makikita ho ninyo yung naka-indicate na from the mother, ito yung period na yung bata sa sinapupunan ng ating mga ina ay nagde-derive from the mother yung T4. So yung T4 thyroid hormone po yan ng ina. There are 4 iodine atoms in a thyroxine, which is the thyroid hormone. And so in the first 4 or 5 months, yan pong T4 na yan is exclusively taken from the mother. Exclusive. Dahil makikita ninyo yung yellow part. The thyroid of the child starts developing pa lang on the 5th, 6th, and 7th month hanggang ipanganak na siya. Okay. So, the message of this slide, which is a little bit technical, is that we have to pay attention. We have to pay attention to the fact that the mother supplies the thyroid hormone to the child. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng thyroid hormone at bakit ito kailangan ng bata? Pakita natin as the child has been born at 2 months of age, 1 year of age, 3 years of age, makikita nyo the brain is developing. The brain is developing, obviously. Until the child becomes of age na papasok na siya sa eskwela, nagdi-develop pa rin. Obviously, a new brain is much lighter than a mature brain na makikita natin as we grow into adulthood. No? Obvious naman yan na yung maliit ang organ ng brain, kanya lumalaki pa lang siya. Okay. Now, here is the main message. Isip at talino ng anak nakasalalay sa thyroid ni nanay. Ito ang ating mensahe kung bakit tayo walang incremental improvement dito sa ating struggle towards iodine deficiency. Makikita nyo yung nanay may thyroid problem. Malaki yung leeg, nakabukol yung leeg. At pag yung ina na yan ay nagbuntis, akaparis na itong situation na to, hindi po magandang kombinasyon na may bukol sa taas, goiter, at may bukol sa ibaba, kabuntisan. Now, makikita po natin, here is an illustrative, of course, mga cartoons lang ito, but a mother, o mukha pang teenage nga ito dahil mas alam na ninyo may mga features ang teenager na mas kanais-nais natin, no? Kita nyo yung leeg niya flat, hindi ka pares dito sa una nating cartoon, flat. Kanya pagka itong babae na ito, might even be a teenager for that matter, nagbuntis, yan, magandang kombinasyon yan dahil walang goiter si nanay at yung brain development will proceed optimally. Yan ho ang mga contrast na sinasabi natin. Now, ano ba itong iodine deficiency disorders? Isipin natin, ang iodine deficiency disorder, kakulangan siyempre ng isang micronutrient, iodine. Okay, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng iodine? O ano ang value ng iodine? Makikita po natin na pagka wala tayong sapat na iodine, magkakaroon tayo ng iodine deficiency disorder or IDD. Ito, makikita po natin, just like an iceberg, the goiter is only the tip of the iceberg. Yan po ang nakikita lang natin. At siyempre, obvious naman na pagka may malaking bukol ang mga kababayan, usually kababaihan, ay sasabihin natin, goiter yan. Okay, that's just the tip of the iceberg. What is not being seen, yung sa ilalim nung, di ba, dagat yan. Iceberg is in the dagat. Okay. Hypothyroidism, impaired mental function, retarded physical development, psychomotor defects, at reproductive failures. Yan, itong mga asa ilalim ng dagat, hindi natin nakikita hindi natin na-discern ng malinaw. Ang nakikita ho lang natin yung goiter sa itaas, the tip of the iceberg. But, if you see, the effects of iodine deficiency in its totality on the cognitive and psychomotor development will result to an average loss of 13.5 IQ points. Malaki po ang ibig sabihin ng loss na ganyan dahil, ito makikita ho natin, iodine deficiency is the most visible effect is goiter, but the most vicious effect is retarded cognition and growth. Okay, dalawang pictures ang makikita nyo. Yung isa, ito may malaking bukol sa leg, multinodular goiter in a 12-year-old boy from Morocco. Yan. Whereas, itong isang cute na bata sa right side ko, left side ninyo, merong isang 8-year-old boy from China who is subcretin with growth and mental retardation. Now, kung tutuusin, alin ang gusto mo magkaroon ka na anak? Yung merong malaking bukol sa leeg o yung isang cretin na ganyan? Cute nga, pero sa totoo lang, wala hong laman ang kanyang utak. Because he is retarded. He is a cretin. Now, meron din dito sa atin sa Pilipinas yan. Ito yung 3 always babies of Zamboanga del Norte. Si Jeto, 19 years old. Si Charles, 3 years old. Si Nisa, 16-year-old. Magkakapatid ho yung tatlo na yan. Panganay, obviously, si Jeto. Sumunod si Nisa. Saka palang dumating si Charles. Pero makikita nyo, pare-pareho ang size. At pare-pareho, lalo-lalo na si Jeto, nakatagilid pa yung leg. Di ba? At saka yung paa, kita nyo, nakabaluktot. Ganon din si Nisa, 16 years old na yan. 19 si Jeto. Kung ikukumpara nyo, para lang silang si Charles. Iyan ho ang problema natin. At babalikan ko yung Zamboanga del Norte kung bakit nagkaroon sila ng 3 always babies. Yan hong babies na yan hong 3 tao na yan, hindi na lalaki. Ganyan na lang sila. O, gusto nyo bang magkaroon ng mga ganyang anak o kamag-anak man lang? So, Kung ayaw ninyong magkaroon ng mga ganun at masugpo ang goiter at ang talino ay ang isip ay patalinuhin, gumamit ng iodine sa asin. Kanyang ito ang logo ng aming Goiter Awareness Week noong 2008. Iodized salt lang ang gamitin sa mga lutuin at pagkain. Now, ano ba ibig sabihin niyan? Ang mga Pilipino ba ay household ay aware sa iodized salt? Kasi itong ating ipinagdiriwang last week, Goiter Awareness Week 2023, aware ba ang karamihan sa ating mamamayan sa iodized salt? Yes! 64% of our household. Ito po ay galing sa Food and Nutrition Research Institute, itong 3 slides na to. At they are aware. Almost 65% or 70% na nga siguro ngayon. But, are they using iodized salt? Well, nakita nyo, 55.7% lang ang gumagamit ng iodized salt. Now, this is the most interesting part. Are these households using adequately iodized salt na greater than 15 parts per million? Yan po ang problema. Only 33% of our household are using adequately iodized salt. Ini-emphasize ko yung word na adequately dahil yan po ang hindi na matapos-tapos na issue sa aming mga technical working group discussion on the National Salt Iodization Program. Karamihan pa rin sa mga asin na ibinebenta sa mga palengke, grocery, supermarket, inadequately iodized ang kanilang salt. So, kung isang mamamalengke o isang mag-grocery, pipiliin niya siyempre iodized salt kasi sabi ng mga DOH at saka sabi ng mga doktor, mahusay daw ang iodized salt. Yes, pero pagka tinest natin ang kanilang adequacy for iodization, bagsak ang level. Yan ang masaklap na katotohanan. And therefore, we can see here the map of the Philippines na makikita natin yung mga red tag provinces. Red tagging ho ang sabi na kinuha na. Kasi yan ang may mga problema. Kanya kung kayo ay andyan, nakatira dyan sa mga lalawigan ganyan, sa Luzon, yan, Benguet, Pangasinan, at saka Mountain Province, at nakikita nyo sa Visayas, sa Western Samar, Biliran, Capiz, Antique, Cebu, at sa Mindanao, Zamboanga del Norte, Zamboanga del Sur, Basilan, Bukidnon, Davao Occidental, South Cotabato. Balikan natin yung Zamboanga del Norte. Ito po kasi ang pinaka malala ang problema sa iodine deficiency. Nakikita niyo yung number sa kanya, 57 micrograms per liter. Siya ho ang pinakamababang numero dyan sa lahat yung 15 provinces na yan. Dapat ay 100 ang pasado, pero sa kanya, 57 lang. Yung iba, ayan, umaakyat naman sila. Pinakamataas na nga dyan sa Kwan is Palawan, 91 ata. Ayan. No, pero, ang problema ho ay laganap. At hindi lang siguro dyan sa mga probinsyang nare-red tag na yan ang problema natin sa Pilipinas. Kanya po, ito po ang inilunsad namin o ilulunsad. Actually, sa Friday ho ang formal launching of this Tyromobile in the Philippines. At ito naman po ay hindi naman bago dito ang konsepto niyan, pero ibinring up huli namin itong Tyromobile na to dahil gusto nating masolusyonan ang problema sa iodine deficiency. So, yan hong 6 na organizations na yan, Iodine Global Network, Philippine Thyroid Association, Thyroid Federation International, our Rotary Club of University District Manila, Salinas Foods at saka Merck ay nag-bonding together in order to launch this Tyromobile. At ito pong Tyromobile na ito ay mag-provide ng mga services like point-of-care thyroid function, yung mga T4, TSH sa kanayunan, no? at magte-test sila ng salt for their quantitative testing for salt iodization. At ito po ang mga nakaamba para yung mga services na gagawin, testing for urinary iodine para makita nga kung talaga bang yung lalawigan na yan ay talaga bang matindi pa ang mga problema. It will also provide for thyroid ultrasound, which is a portable, pwedeng dalhin yan sa mga probinsya in a van like this, Thyromobile, para makita kung may mga bukol lang ba, pwede ba itong matusok na lang ng karayom, sipsipin na lang kung liquid ang lalabas sa ultrasound o baka kung solid ito, kailangan i-biopsy o kailangan tanggalin. And later on, yung mga iodized oil tablets for short-term supplementation. So, turning iodine into intelligence. That's a key operative word. Pareho sila nag-start with I. Kanya nga, na-retain ko yung sinabi kanina doon na incremental improvement. Parehong I, nag-uumpisa sa I. Ito, iodine into intelligence. Ito po ay cartoon, obviously, pero pagka ito ay nabasa ng ating mga lalo-lalo na kababaihan, malaking kaalaman ito para sa kanila dahil they cannot just dismiss iodine. Oh, it's just one of those minerals, micronutrients. Mas mainam pa kumain na lang ng mas maraming pagkain. You know, we relegate iodine role into parang hindi natin pinapansin ba. But nakita naman ninyo, it is vital for growth and development and for intelligence. Ayan pa, ito po ay mga piniprint at para mabasa ng karamihan at sila ay malaan nila kung anong tama o hindi sa mga pagkain. Now, ito, meron akong isang quiz para sa inyo. It's in the form of a cartoon. Ayan. Yung si teacher, nagtataka bakit grade 3 pa lang umuulit na siya. At si mother sa bahay, nagtataka, ang sipag-sipag naman itong aking anak. Bakit he is so slow in school? Well, ang message ko ay nakasulat dyan sa baba, iodine deficiency lowers mental performance. Now, quiz. Ang ating mga nanonood, spot 2 errors in these cartoons. That's the instruction. 2 errors andyan sa cartoons na yan. Ano ho ang nakikita ninyo? Anong mga errors ang nakikita ninyo? Quiz ho yan. Tignan natin kung baka kayo isa dyan sa mga iodine deficient, talagang bababa ang mental performance. O gusto niyo ng clue para masagot agad. Ang clue po, nasasabihin ko sa inyo ay grammatical errors ang andyan sa quiz ng 2 slides na yan, 2 cartoons na yan. Actually, dun lang sa gitnang cartoon, andun na ho yung 2 errors No, nakita nyo na? O, ito na ang sagot. Fail. He always fails dapat. At saka ho doon sa it's IT''S. Na mukhang very grade school naman itong quiz na to. Pero we tend to overlook things, especially when of course this is reading, nababasa lang natin yan. But it's about time that we take a look at how we say things and how we spell things. Of course, spelling lang yan. And grammar, grade school. But it tells us about our performance. Kanya, the solution to iodine deficiency disorders, there are 2 solutions. Number 1, short-term, iodine supplementation. Bigyan ng mga iodine tablets ang mga kababaihang magbubuntis o intending to get pregnant. Dahil ang main focus po natin ay ang mga kababaihan. Kasi yung sa mga bata, mukhang solved na yun. Mataas naman ang iodine level ng ating mga bata. But pregnant and lactating, yan ang problema pa rin natin. Kanya yung incremental improvement, napakatagal marating. So, iodine supplementation. Bigyan lang natin ng 400 micrograms tablet ang babae twice a year. Okay na siya. She will get her supply on an annual basis with just 2 tablets of iodine supplementation. At yan po ay ginagawa ng DOH. But the long-term solution is salt iodization. Yan. It is what we call ASIN law, Republic Act 8172. Siguro naman naririnig ninyo ngayon, andyan sa radyo, sa TV, dinidiskusyonan ng ating mga mambabatas ang ASIN law. Ang iba pa nga, gustong i-repeal ang ASIN law. This is really a preposterous proposition. I-repeal mo ang ASIN law, ito na nga ang pinaka most effective yung through iodized salt. This is the most effective and most efficient way by which we get our iodine. But of course, sasabihin nyo, marami namang pinanggagalingan ng iodine. Pagkain ng dagat, sige, kumain ka ng kumain. Hindi naman lahat ng oras, lahat ng panahon, kakain ka ng pagkain ng dagat. Hindi ba? Now, pinakita nga dito kanina ni Dr. Gumatay, yung mga delivery ngayon, food delivery, restaurant food, order na lang tayo ng order. And that is why it is important that even our food industry must comply with ASIN law. Dapat yung kanilang mga pinoprocess na food like mga karne norte o even yung mga tusino natin, mga langgunisa, kahit na hindi delata, they have to be complying with the ASIN law. Kung i-repeal mo pa ang ASIN law, sinong gagawa niya mga yan? And that is why it's opportune that we are confronted with this problem dahil it's about time that we open the minds and consciousness and awareness of everyone about the importance of ASIN law. Kanya po, itong last slide ko, balikan natin, goiter sugpuin, isip patalinuhin, iodized salt gamitin. Why are we so anchored on iodized salt? Hindi po kami, aminin ko sa inyo, hindi po kami ahente ng asin. At wala ho kaming kinalaman sa mga asin. Although, of course, we help because we know the vital role of the salt industry in prevention of iodine deficiency disorders. Kanya ho ang aming hashtag ay Rescue the IQ. At now, makikita natin na ito ay may role sa goiter. Yes, but we now have to start thinking beyond goiter. And we start focusing on the brain development of our children. Yan po ang aking mensahe dito sa isang problema na hindi matapos-tapos, hindi mawala-wala dito sa Pilipinas. At kanya minabuti ko ho na dito sa forum na to ay banggitin itong issue na to dahil yun nga, wala kaming nakikitang masyadong abante o asenso sa ating struggle or ating labanan against iodine deficiency disorder. Marami pong salamat sa inyong lahat.
Maraming salamat, Doc Shing, sa iyong binahagi tungkol sa yung mga new year, pero old problems pa rin. Medyo na-tense lang kami ni Conrad dun sa pop quiz na binigay ninyo. Baka mamaya mawala kami ng trabaho dito.
Okay, so the fourth, any questions for the National Coordinator of the Iodine Global Network?
Well, actually, meron lang kasi ako na-encounter before, particularly diba, women are more prone to yung hypothyroidism, hypo, no? And then the thing was during the time when they were starting to roll out yung immunization, yung for COVID-19, the shots, no? Some were saying na hindi ako pwede turok kasi nga merong hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism. Basically, yung may mga problema sila, hindi daw sila pwedeng magpa-vaccine. Would you care to weigh in on that? Na pwede or case to case or very, very hard to say?
Yeah, nabanggit mo na ano pa? Dafford.
Yes.
Nabanggit mo na yun case to case basis. Dahil totoo naman na talagang may mga tao na may mga comorbidities na dapat ay iwasan muna bago sila turukan ng mga foreign substances like a vaccine na ganito. So it has to be weighed in very intensively, at hindi naman lahat ng hypo ay bawal o di kaya hyper na bawal mag-take ng or mabigyan ng mga ganitong vaccine, no? It has to be in a case-to-case basis. At ito yung diniscuss ko sa inyo ngayon ay yung iodine deficiency disorders. I did not touch on the other aspects like the hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, thyroid cancer. Dahil ibang hong discussion ang ating oras pagka tinatch ko pa yun. Kanya I focus only on the iodine deficiency disorder because of the issues that we are confronted with. Iodized salt ang aming, at tama-tama nga ito dahil last week ginanap yung ating Goiter Awareness Week at ginawa ho namin ito sa Occidental Mindoro, which is a major salt producing province. Kanya tinutukan po namin yung mga asin producers or salt producers para iayos ang kanilang iodization. At hindi naman ho lahat ng asin na pinoproduce dapat i-iodize. Yun ho ang isang error doon sa mga arguments ng ating mga kagalang-galang na mambabatas na bakit daw kailangan i-iodize. Wala naman daw capabilities ang mga lalo-lalo na yung maliliit na producers to iodize. Well, ang sagot lang ho doon is that out of the 14,000 uses of salt, 14,000 uses of salt, ang gagamitan lang ng iodine yung for human consumption. Kung ang production mo at ang inyong trade sa salt ay hindi naman for human consumption, there is no need to iodize them. Gastos lang yan para sa mga producers at saka mga retailers. So, for human consumption lang ang asin law. Yun ho ang dapat i-emphasize.
Okay, Doc. Thank you very much for clarifying that.
Yeah.
And we have a handful of other questions na itatanong na namin sa inyo mamaya. But in the meantime, I think Conrad will be introducing our final speaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to our fourth and final keynote speaker. Indeed, we shall, and with pleasure, the fourth. For our next speaker is somewhat of a celebrity in the field of medical groups and is known to many of our viewers that are health conscious and wellness aficionados. Apart from being its founder, he is the managing director of the Le Bien Wellness Specialists. The services he offers includes medical consultation, general health evaluation, specialty referral, cancer alternatives, chelation therapy, German homeopathy, US natural remedies, natural and nutritional medicine, and preventive medicine. He received his Doctor of Medicine Integrative from the University of Santo Tomas, and with over 20 years of practice since then, he has been renowned as a wellness and integrative medicine specialist. He is a fellow of the Royal Institute of Alternative Medicine, Singapore, and a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and only Dr. Edwin Bien. Sir, Doctor, the screen is yours.
Hello, Dr. Bian. I think
yes,
your
got it.
camera
Thank you
is
very much, sir.
your camera is
very
off
much.
and your
Okay, I'd like to request
there you go.
assistance doon sa aking mga materials. Thanks,
Mhm.
Sir Dafort. But first of all, I'd like to thank Manila Times through Miss Gemma for inviting me to share a little bit about my knowledge about health and wellness. So without further ado, can we go to our slides, please? Let's go to slide number 1. Okay, well, this is what I decided upon na gawin kong opening line in cooperation with Manila Times. Can we go to slide number 2, please? My apologies if I ask permission regarding my slides because I'm using my mobile phone. I'm presently in my clinic and I'm in between patients. So, pasensya na po. Next, please. A little bit about myself. Okay, I'm from UST as well as many other organizations. So next, please. And this is one of the most important slides. Now, this person is the one more than 35 years ago who influenced me to go into natural and wellness medicine. At that time, he calls it the Traditional and Alternative Act. Pero he made a law. The law is called Republic Act 8423, encouraging doctors to go into wellness and to try to push for natural medicine. And I think by far, not only was he the most popular na naging health secretary natin, for me, I think he's the best also. So siya po ang naglunsad nito and a lot of doctors followed and a lot of practices also followed. So I'm going to be talking about the things that he talked about. So when you're listening to me, please take note that you're also listening to the wisdom of Dr. Juan Flavier. Next slide, please. Okay, this next slide will show us na yung food natin should always be considered as our medicine first and foremost. Kasi if you notice, we have a lot of grandparents who reached up to 95 years old. And yet, during their time, Sir Dafort, wala pa silang masyadong access to medical technology, to specialty hospitalizations. They probably are not taking so much medicines. You know, a little bit of tapal-tapal ng mga dahon, maybe a little bit of pain reliever kapag hindi na nila matiis. But very seldom do they develop diabetes, hypertension, I believe even tumors, no? And a lot of them have 12 children without necessarily going to a hospital to deliver their babies. And they just die in their sleep at 95 to 100 years old. And that is what we are trying to recover. Right now, we see patients who are 60 at 65, nasa ICU na, needing interventions. And if we are going to lose 30 years of our life because of these poor habits, then maybe we should change as well. Next slide, please. So, ito ang unang-una natin dapat baguhin. Too much holidays, sabi nga nung first speaker natin. In too much holidays, will lead to too much drinking. And of course, this will lead to more fatigue. Ang holiday natin should be restful because there is a condition called the holiday heart syndrome. Next slide, please. Gaano daw ba karami ang tanong ni Sir Dafort na dapat inumin, na pwedeng inumin, na alak? Wala po kasing walang standard for that. Iba't iba ang ating katawan. Para sa akin, umuwi ka na at matulog bago ka pa malasing. And that is my that is my ruling for myself. Hindi ko na kailangan nagpapaalam doon sa mga kainuman. As long as napagbigyan sila, then I think I should go already because I intend to take care of my heart as well. Next slide, please. Ano kasi ang mararamdaman natin when we have too much to drink already? Pagod tayo kinabukasan. We cannot work, shortness of breath, even chest pain, palpitation, and dizziness. And this is the holiday heart syndrome. Next slide, please. Okay, sa next slide, makikita natin, yung normal na puso natin at tibok, akala natin palpitation lang, but a lot of people develop fibrillation, totoong fibrillation. That means wala na sa tiyempo yung tibok ng kanilang puso. And the next slide will show us ano ang nangyayari. We have a lot of cases. In fact, nabalita nga mga sikat na mga tao who have been rushed to the hospital, nasa inuman sila, nagkaroon ng fibrillation, nauwi sa abnormality of the beating of the heart, and eventually led to their demise. Ayaw natin po yun. Next slide, please. So, drink moderately. How much alcohol can you drink at a safe level? Iiwanan ko naman ng slide na ito so that the guys as well as girls can take a look and memorize this. For men, 4 or 5 drinks per day, sobra na po yun. Okay? Next slide, please. Now, what do we do? If our heart, now this is an advice coming from our former health secretary who became a senator, nutritional supplementation. If you do not know what to take and you think that you have a weak heart, magnesium is one of those that you can take a look at. Ask your doctor about it. Ask your cardiologist about it. Very rarely do doctors prescribe it. Kasi ang piniprescribe ng mga doktor kung ano yung commercial ng mga vitamins and supplements that they see also on television na sinasabing kompleto na from A to Z. If one has a heart condition, one may need more magnesium than the usual. Okay? Next slide, please. A study. 40 analysis studies were done. More than 1 million participants joined. They consumed 100 milligrams or more of magnesium each day. Nakita nila they reduced the risk of stroke and heart failure by 7% and 22% respectively. So some of you may be prescribed by your doctor some medications to prevent a heart attack like trimetazidine, like maybe carvedilol para sa puso at circulation natin. But why not consider also taking magnesium? Okay? Next slide, please. Of course, these are some of the foods that we will avoid. We should avoid. Tinalakay din ito by another speaker, no? Ang iwasan natin talaga, comfort foods. As I mentioned, yung mga lolo natin nung araw, rarely do they eat chicken. Only during Sundays, I believe. I remember my own lola is saying, you want chicken? Hulihin mo yung manok. Otherwise, malunggay tayo. And that is a very good advice from an old lady. Next slide, please. Okay, these are some of the remedies that one can do if one is feeling some of those palpitation or kaya discomfort in their body, like ginger as a tea, lemon as a tea, green tea, and taking a lot of garlic, not raw, but with your food, has been shown as an old remedy to help people with those conditions. Now, another condition we'd like to tackle is the next one. Totoo ba ito? Can we go to the next slide? Totoo nga ba na may binabangungot? Totoo nga ba na ang binabangungot ay nauuwi sa atake sa puso? At may namamatay ba talaga sa bangungot? What is the most common reason para sa mga pagbabangungot na ito? Next slide will show us. Fault natin ito. Ang hilig na natin ngayon pumasok sa mga restaurant that will give us a whole line of food for 500 pesos. Ano nga ba tawag doon? Eat all you can. Ang tawag ng Korean doon, mukbang. Ang tawag natin doon, stuff your face. We like to do that. Let us avoid restaurants like that. Hindi sa kinakalaban ko sila, pero i-avoid din natin ang restaurants which will give you unlimited rice. Dahil overstimulation can, next slide please, really damage and cause inflammation in the pancreas. Yung pancreas na yan, namamagayan. And next slide will show us this can lead to a condition called pancreatitis. Inflammation of the pancreas can later on lead to another condition, hemorrhagic pancreatitis. Yung hemorrhagic pancreatitis, yun yung nangyayari sa binabangungot, kaya sila pumapanaw. Ayan, so bakit? Dahil sobrang stimulated yung lapay or pancreas from the stimulation ng food na napili natin. So dapat, hindi na nga dapat nauuso yung dinner date. Para sa akin, mas maganda yung breakfast date. Yung sabay ba kayong magbe-breakfast? Alam mo na, before the breakfast. Next slide, please. Nangiti si Sir Lafort. Alam niya ibig sabihin nun. This is internal hemorrhage that can lead to death. And if we want to avoid that, the next slide will show us another supplement that will be good for us. Etong kulay pink na ito, studies have demonstrated that susceptibility to diabetes is influenced by zinc deficiency. Hindi lamang diabetes. This mineral participates in every step of the process, including insulin synthesis. Yung pagtunaw ng mga kinain natin na pansit, na inulam natin sa kanin, at nilagyan natin ng tinapay, at nag-dessert tayo ng ice cream. All of those are carbs that will cause inflammation in the pancreas, and zinc will be one good supplement na pwede nating ititake. Next slide, please. Okay, what can we take as well? No, kapag tayo ay nabusog ng husto sa gabi, and instead of taking coffee with it, sabi nga nung another doctor natin na baka mag-cause lang ng anxiety with us, try taking okra water, lemon water, or cucumber water. Because these three types of water na nilagyan ng mga gulay natin contains a lot of zinc that will help in digestion. Compare nga natin, if I'm sure a lot of you have been to Singapore, they don't take cola drinks or soft drinks together with their food. They take tea. Or they take this water with their vegetables. Okay? Next slide. Pupunta po tayo with another condition na problema ng marami, and that is how they can manage their creatinine. Mataas ang blood pressure, mataas ang sugar, which will lead to a problem in the kidney, which results in increase in creatinine level. Next slide, please. The next slide will show us yung hypertension would probably be due to a blockade in our arteries, or probably a hormonal problem, or probably stimulation, overstimulation of our sympathetics. So, yung pagtaas ng blood pressure natin can lead to a high creatinine level. But hindi lang dahil sa pagkain. Next slide, please. Yung stress natin, sobra rin. Mas marami tayong stress ngayon because we are so proud that we are doing multitasking. Akala natin, yung boss natin, proud na proud sa atin kasi multitasking tayo. Akala natin, porque umuwi tayo ng alas 7, alas 8 ng gabi, better kaysa doon sa umuwi ng alas 5 ng hapon. Pwedeng marami kang ma-accomplish. Pero at the same time, pwedeng yung kandila natin, umiikli at sinusunog natin in both ends. And what will happen? When we get sick, when we are in ICU, ang dadalaw lang naman sa atin, yung kamag-anak at pamilya natin, hindi naman tayo dadalawin. Kadalasan ng katrabaho natin. So learn to manage our stress. Learn to manage our workload. So, next slide please. Ano ang ginagawa natin so that we will be able to monitor ourselves? Okay. Nasa part 2 po siguro tayo, sir. Alright. Ang next slide natin will show us a laboratory test. Okay. This is our diabetes mellitus. Okay. After hypertension, madali namang malaman kung may diabetes ka kahit wala kang symptoms. All you need to do is remember the PPP. Polydipsia, polyuria, polyphagia. Lagi kang gutom, lagi kang uhaw, lagi kang ihi ng ihi. More than the usual. And that could be a sign of sugar that is irritating your urinary bladder already. Kaya ka ginigising sa gabi. Next slide, please. And again, ang diabetes is not only a sugar problem. Nakita nila, it is also an autoimmune problem. That means our own body is attacking ourselves. And what happens? Why does it why does it happen? Kasi again, ang dami nating stressors in our lives. Hindi lang mental, pati physical. So it's very important that we do our own testings. Nagpapalaboratorio tayo. Next slide, please. So ito yung creatinine. Ayan, titingnan natin kung tumataas na yan. Huwag nating ipapa-urinalysis lang ang ating katawan o ating sarili. Get a blood test. At huwag nating i-monitor yung sugar lang and cholesterol. Very important, I monitor din ang creatinine. Sabi nga nila, mas mahirap pa ang taong dinadialysis. Dahil it's a lifetime ng pahirap. Kaysa sa taong biglaan na lang inatake sa puso at pumanaw na. Probably I agree with that. A lot of patients feel the same way. Next slide, please. So, ano ang sintomas ng mataas ang ating creatinine? Nakalista dyan. We are dehydrated. Again, we are fatigued. We are weak. May palpitation tayo at mayroon tayong mental confusion. So, pwede nga ba talaga tayong makasurvive? Next slide, please. Without dialysis? Well, check with your nephrologist. But there are people who are able to manage their creatinine level to go down para hindi na sila mauwi sa dialysis. These slides that I'm showing to you are some of my slides in my own YouTube channel. So after which, kung gusto ninyong makita yung mga advices na yon, you just follow yung name ko po. Ito yung ipapakita ko doon. Next slide. May mga pagkain bawal sa kidney. Unang-una na dyan yung paborito nating soft drink. Ayan. So, if we can live, actually, kaya naman nating mabuhay without taking soft drink with our food. Bakit nga ba yung mga burger joint, laging may soft drink? Bakit hindi sila magtinda ng tsaa together with their burger? No? Total, mamantika na rin lang naman yung burger. So, why not tea together with it? Okay. Now, what do we take instead of the soft drink or colored drinks? Again, for those who have gone to Taiwan, gone to Japan, these are the kind of drinks that they offer. Dapat siguro magaya na rin natin as Filipinos. Next slide, please. Yan. How do we clean our kidneys? Kinchay. Kinchay can be made into a drink. Another recipe, beetroot with cucumber. So these have been known to cleanse the kidney. Hindi lang kung may kidney stone ka, basta meron kang problema sa kidney, including urinary tract infection, these are very good juices that we can take. Now, I have been mentioning some supplements, some vitamins that would be good for those who suffer these diseases. Next slide will show us ano yung maganda sa kidney. Niacin. It's a form of vitamin B3. Pinag-aralan din ito. Studies have shown that B3 may help slow down the phosphorus level na kalaban ng taong mataas ang creatinine with those with impaired renal function. The study suggests that B3 and its metabolites effectively decreases phosphorus absorption in the gut. So niacin is a good vitamin again. I'm down to my last few slides. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is common among the workforce, ang paghapdi ng sikmura. Okay, akala nila dahil nalipasan lang sila ng gutom, hindi nila alam, maaaring may mga wrong kind of bacteria in their digestive system. Next slide, please. Ito yung wrong kind. The bad bacteria, dahil sa puro karne ang kinakain natin, lalo na kung it is processed food, it overwhelms our digestive system, natatalo ang good bacteria. So, pwede tayong magkaroon ng gastric acidity. One of those bacteria is called H. pylori. Sikat na sikat yan. Yung H. pylori, kayang bumutas ng bituka niyan. Next slide, please. So, ito yung nararamdaman. Alam naman natin nararamdaman, paninikip ng sikmura. Minsan naduduwal tayo. Minsan nakala natin, inatake na tayo sa puso. Hindi pala lahat dahil sa acidity. Next slide. It could also be due to, sa next slide po please, gallbladder problem. Yung pagkain natin ng mamantika, nagsisikrit tayo ng bile, punong-puno na ng bile ang ating gallbladder, tumitigas na yung bile na yon na dating buhangin, nagiging bato. And that can also cause acidity. So anong pwede natin gawin? No? Inumin. Next slide again, please. Wow! If we are going to choose between a synthetic iron that is normally prescribed by doctors, gaya ng ferrous sulfate, maasim sa sikmura yon. I-try natin ang pag-inom ng mga natural sources of iron. One of those would be chlorella. The other is spirulina. Marami po in the market with that. So, let's go to our next slide. Again, juice therapy will help doon sa ating nararamdaman sa sikmura. Another condition. Next slide, please. Karamihan sa mga babae hindi na maikabit ang kanilang bra because they have frozen shoulder. Next slide. Karamihan sa mga lalaki hindi makalakad ng mabuti when they wake up in the morning, pagtapak pa lang sa floor dahil masakit yung kanilang paa. These are deposits in our joints. So we must learn to say no to some of those that causes these deposits. Next slide, please. And these are the things that we should say no to. Combo number 1, paborito ng mga workforce yan. Papasok sa isang fast food store, combo number 1, combo number 2, combo number 3. Hindi nila napupuna, that's their meal every day for Monday to Friday. And then one day, they realize na they are already deficient in a lot of nutrients, but with a lot of toxins in their body. Next slide, please. So, sa next slide, ano ang pwede nating inumin again? Biochemical findings indicate functional problems with thiamine deficiency can help, no? Yung pag-inom ng thiamine can help those with deficiencies resulting in pain in their joints. So kanina may B3, ito ngayon B1. Aba, ganda. Nakita nila 37% to 71% reduction in fatigue and up to 80% reduction in pain. So instead of us masyadong dependent on pain relievers like mefenamic acid, some of our listeners probably are already taking celecoxib. Wag po tayong masyadong dependent on those because they can damage kidneys. What do we do? Next slide, please. Cleansing. Kapag may nararamdaman tayo, ang una nating gawin, mag-cleansing. If you remember, I do not know if you remember, if you are old enough, no, sa mga listeners natin, may mga lola tayo who are doing enema in their children. Namana nila rin yun sa mga lola rin nila Ang tawag nila ron, enema labatiba as cleansing. There is some wisdom to it. Hindi na natin gagawin ng enema probably now, but at least we can do some fluid cleansing, some detoxification, diet modification, as well as some form of fasting. Malaking tulong yon. Next slide, please. This is one of the therapies that we do in our clinic. It is controversial, but a lot of clinics in Europe, as well as in the USA, are doing it concomitant with the treatment of their doctors and other cardiologists. Okay? Hindi ito lang. Pantulong lang ito doon sa binibigay ng kanilang doktor. Next slide, please. Why? Kasi may mga tao na dependent na rin sa statins. Mataas ang cholesterol and triglyceride. 3 years nang umiinom ng statins. I remember my opening introduction na ang mga lolo natin are not taking so much medicine and yet they live long. Maybe because they know what to do. Hindi lang puro gamot ang solusyon. Next slide, please. Hindi natin nalalaman, but mababasa natin, and in fact, we can ask our doctors, even statins have side effects. Hindi pwedeng sabihin na ang gamot na ito ay walang side effect lamang. Because most medicines do have side effects. So we have to ask our doctors about those. Next slide, please. And what can we ask our doctor? Ito yan. A plant-based diet has been shown to reduce death by about 40%. Hindi mo naman kailangan maging vegetarian o maging vegan. Pero siguraduhin mo lang na tuwing kakain ka, mayroong gulay in 1/4 part of your plate. In 1/4 part of your plate. And all in all, down to my last 2 slide, wag nating kalimutan, Hindi po doktor ang nagpapagaling, hindi rin po gamot ang nagpapagaling. Sa totoo lang, instrumento lang tayo. Sa last slide, pakita po natin, next slide, prayer. When everything else fails, you will be surprised. Prayer works. Last slide, please. This is my number. Kung gusto po ninyo akong i-text, kung gusto naman po ninyo maging friend tayo sa Facebook, this is my Facebook name, Libyan Wellness Specialists. So maraming salamat po sa pakikinig. May God bless you all.
Maraming salamat, Dr. Bian, sa napakarami mong napakagandang mga suggestions na pwede natin gawin sa bagong taon. Particularly ako, natuwa ako sa suggestion mo na to shift na lang from dinner dates, gawin na lang breakfast dates. Ang mas healthy yun.
Pangpilyo lang yon, Sir Defort. Pangpilyo lang yon.
But I think given that we have limited time left, maybe we can stick to perhaps 1 or 2 questions per doctor at most. I hope Doctors Ching and Dr. Alan will indulge us in perhaps 1 or 2 more questions each before we wrap up our program for today. Conrad, would you like to start by asking a question from our Manila Times Health Beat reporter? The question from Red.
Well, let me ask this question first before we go to Red's question. What are the other ways in which we can better take care of the prenatal and postnatal health of our children moving forward into this year? So how can we better take care of yung prenatal and postnatal health of our children?
I think that's in connection with perhaps yung talk ni Dr. Ching about iodine deficiencies.
Yes, I think that's with sa iron deficiency.
Iodine deficiency po ang ating topic kanina. At para ma-assure natin ang ating mga bata ay malusog, siyempre, the diet should always be there, no? Alam naman natin na prenatal care, importante yan sa mga buntis dahil ang issue sa kanila ay baka malaglag, miscarriages na ganyan, kung pangit ang kanilang nutrition. So, prenatal, mga obstetricians natin na makapagbibigay ng mas magandang payo. Postnatal care naman sa mga bata, siyempre mga pediatricians naman ng dapat sumalud sa mga ganyang issue. So, siguro i-direct natin yung tanong na yun sa ating mga kinakaukulang mga colleagues in obstetrics, gynecology, and in pediatrics.
Okay. Doc Ching, is there a free thyroid laboratory ba for sa DOH?
Wala ho silang free thyroid laboratory. Kanya nga itong Thyromobile natin ay gusto nating ilunsad para mabigyan ng pagkakataon ng mga lalo na sa mga laylayan ng lipunan natin na kung may mga problema sila talaga, lalo na kung hyperthyroidism, obvious naman yan. Makikita mo yung may mga matang nakaluwa, mga ganun, hyperthyroid agad kahit na hindi ka. Yun namang mga iba na talagang hypothyroid naman o di kaya bukol sa leeg, baka thyroid cancer yan. So it's important that a well-rounded you may say approach to this maibigay, and so yung ating Thyromobile na ilolunsad will provide more of information rather than pure service. Kasi alam naman natin ang ating mga health centers are laging bukas para sila ay mabigyan ng mga karampatan lunas.
Thank you, Doc. I'm sure si Marilyn Gonzalez, yung viewer natin, will be very pleased to hear about that, yung thyroid laboratory, yung laboratory that you mentioned. Now we'll go to Conrad and yung question ng ating reporter Red Mendoza from the Manila Times.
Okay, his question is, with calls to repeal the ASIN law, how important it is for the country to have this law, despite salt manufacturers claiming that it killed the salt-making industry in the country. So, gaano raw ka-importante itong batas na to? Kasi meron nagsinasabi ng mga salt makers, ito ang pumatay sa industriya namin.
Alam ninyo, do you know that we are importing 550,000 metric tons of salt a year? 550,000. That represents 93% of our total salt requirements. Only 7% ang naipoproduce ng ating local salt industry. Lumiit na lumiit ang salt industry natin dahil alam naman natin, yung mga salt farms na yan, lalo-lalo na dito sa Cavite, Parañaque, Las Piñas, yung mga ganyang areas na coastal, nung maliliit tayo, nakakaligo tayo dyan sa mga... Lumiit na lumiit yung mga salt farms natin dahil, urbanization. Naging mga urbanized na yan, naging malls na yan mga yan. Yung mga lugar na yan. Siyempre, talagang yung living quarters ng Metro Manila nag-expand na nag-expand. So talagang masasacrifice yung mga salt farms na yan. So ang sinusulong ho namin sa Kongreso ngayon ay yung paglaganap ng tinatawag nating salt industry. Kanya merong salt roadmap na dapat magbukas pa tayo ng iba pang mga salt farms sa iba-ibang parts of our country. Doon ho mula sa Ilocos, pababa yung the side facing the West Philippine Sea. These are the provinces and areas na pwedeng buksan ng mga ng gobyerno natin para sa salt farming. Lalo-lalo yung Palawan, napakahabang shoreline. At tamang-tama sila yung what we call under the type 1 provinces na suited for salt farming. Unlike the provinces facing the Pacific Ocean, hindi ho sila pwedeng maging salt farm dependent dahil iba ang climatic condition ng bansa natin. Meron tayo tinatawag na salt farms nga. Yan sinabi ko kanina na those facing the West Philippine Sea, yun ang mga pwedeng maging salt farms.
Thank you, Dr. Shing. I do have a question. Well, it's not quite a follow-up question, but Red Mendoza, our health reporter, is also asking, perhaps we can direct this to Dr. Bien. Buhay kasi journalist, yung anong mga tips that you can give sa lifestyle ng journal na in terms of yung parating pagpupuyat, parating nasa yung paghahabol ng kwento or nahabol yung late breaking story. So tips for journalists on how to magkaroon ng isang sustainable counter sa yung stress ng pagiging sa profession na to.
I believe pinagdaanan niyo po lahat yan Sir Conrad, Sir Lafort, na yung mga journalists really have the worst kind of lifestyle. You don't sleep well. You worry about a lot of things. You smoke a lot. Ang tendency is to drink. And what can I say? Go to your doctor. Wag kung may sakit lang. Ina lang masasabi ko At least do a preventive maintenance. Parang
checkups and healthier food choices, no, siguro.
And that would be difficult because you're outside. You are running. And you're looking for the story. So whatever food is available, and usually in the evening, ang available lang dyan, yung mga magbabalot. So I commiserate with the journalists. I'm very sorry about that. You are as worse as the doctors.
Well, at least we're together in that kind of misery. Well, si Conrad perhaps has our last question for Dr. Alan.
Yes, Dr. Alan, what I've noticed is that there are the age of people getting heart ailments or rather high blood, they're getting younger. Do you think we should raise awareness towards younger people that they are also very prone to getting high blood pressure? Because I got my first high blood diagnosis when I was in my mid-40s, but I've been hearing people as young as 21 getting a high blood diagnosis. So do we have to increase that awareness, and what should government do about that?
balikan ko yung question na, what can journalists do? Considering we are the same boat, like you said, doctors and journalists. We cannot do anything with sleep. So do something with the other things. Exercise, eating habits. Try to correct those. No? So you cannot be perfect eh. Kung anong kaya mo ayusin, yun lang ayusin mo. Then give up on the rest. Okay? Okay, so going to your question, Sir Conrad, no? Correct. In my clinic practice as well, I have seen 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are diabetic, high blood already, no? More common, and the observation is, it's really the eating habits that have become more pronounced, na parang nasa forefront ng issue. It was mentioned before kanina ni Dr. Bien na yung mga lolo-lola natin, they live longer, a little more healthier than us. For I think a couple of things. One, the stress they got were a little less compared to ours. Iba yung high-paced life sa city talaga versus sa province, no? Kaya nga mas mahaba ang buhay ng mga Japanese bila sa province, sa mga province ng Japan, they live up to 88. Ang Pilipino nasa 70-something lang, no? Second, it's the food choices. Our lolo and lolas do not eat fried foods. Talagang sila ay kung yung binungkal nila sa lupa, tinanim nila, yun ang kinakain nila. And they're almost always fresh and healthy and organic. Compared sa atin, na yun na nga, city life, fast food, fried, ganun siya. And then third, it's the weight, no? So meron akong isang lecture before, ang sabi ko nga, meron akong picture, the family that eats together, prays together. The weight actually is an issue, no? Obesity has become another pandemic that coincided with the COVID-19 issue. People became bigger and bigger. Merong animation yan before, WALL-E ata yun. Anyway, the point is, our children are becoming more obese than 10, 20, 3, 4, 5 decades ago, no? So those are the things that we need to be more aware and conscious about to help them. Hindi ko mo, di ba, parang bigyan mo kagad ng candy, bigyan mo ng soft drinks, bigyan mo ng french fries, gano'n, no? We're not feeding our children really, may kasalanan din tayo. We're not feeding them really well. Kasi nga, we are busy, no? So, yeah, we could improve on those things to help our children. Kasi para sa atin din yun, we don't want our children to live shorter than us, no? All right? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Doctors Alan, Ching, and Edwin, and of course also the message from Secretary Verhiere. Conrad?
Yes, we'd like to thank Dr. Alan Gumatay, Dr. Bien, and Dr. San Luis Jr. for joining us. It was very enlightening, especially including me, because I'm already a few years from being a senior, and I can relate to what much of these people has been telling, So we really thank you, all of you, for being here. And also yung message of Dr. Verhiere, our health secretary, that when we aspire to achieve health, it could be in incremental phases. I agree with that. So the fourth?
Yes, I guess that's a wrap. I'm the fourth Villaseran.
And I'm Conrad Mendoza Carino.
We're thankful also to all our viewers that perhaps we hope you've felt empowered and able to actually realize a newer and healthier you here on the Manila Times Health Forum, New Year, New You. Have a great day. Thank you.
At the heart of staying healthy is our mission to deliver excellent and comprehensive care using multidisciplinary approach from different fields of expertise. From doctor's consultation with our cardiologist to diagnostic at the heart care services, surgery at the cath lab, and recuperation at the cardiac rehab facility. Your health and heart care starts from the hospital and extends to home care through Home Care Plus and Moving Med. Trust us with your heart care. Because at Manila Doctors Hospital, you can be assured that we are with you every step of the way.
Sign up for a year for only 80 pesos per month. Visit tmt.ph/premium to get your free 30 days of the Manila Times Premium.